Praise the Lord, my beautiful, blessed souls. We are bruised and not broken. I'm coming back with a word. Just wanted to share some things. We all know that the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But how does he do that? We gotta pay attention to the strategies in our lives, the things that he uses against us. Usually it's family, it's friends, it's our job, it's our business, it's our money. These are the things that are like regular. When you look at your own life, everyone has, things in their life, whether it's sickness, whatever, that the devil likes to use, but he distracts us by using these things to get us to be focused on other things. Another way that he does that is by the world and what is going on in the world. We got the Met Gala going on. Of course, we had Mother's Day, but the Met Gala is another demonic situation when you think about a lot of things. When we look at Hollywood and the red carpet, all of its symbolisms, when we look at what they were wearing, the costumes, all of it, what it symbolizes, the worship of what? The devil. You can tell the red tongue, they talk about red bottoms, they talk about all these other things, the demonic stuff that they, hand signs, symbols, even up until the clothes and the people that they're wearing on their bodies, so they're promoting their deities who are the people that they worship. So when we look at these things, we've seen most of them, when it came to the men, were dressed very femininely, and most of the women were dressed rather masculine or manly. So we know that the devil does a lot of things and he distracts us. So, whenever there's football games, basketball games, whenever there's all of these events and things going on, these are distractions to keep us from seeing what is really going on behind the scenes. Also, we must look at the fact of, all of these laws and all of the things that are going on in the world. I don't know if you know about them situation with the Bibles and the street preaching. They're talking about banning these things. I try to keep up with news, but not just American news, but world news, because it lets us know what's going on around the country. They're talking about the Traore in Africa. They're trying to do some stuff with him. So as we see, things are unfolding. Prophecy is being unleashed each and every day. The devil is on his job. He's doing what he does best, and we need to be on ours. I'm seeing as well, there's some issues going on in the church and in the body itself. We're talking about RICO charges and other things going on, which we know these things have been going on for a long time. When it comes to the finances, one thing about 501(c)(3)s, I myself used to try to investigate them myself, because I myself wanted one. But I already know what the guidelines are for them, and what they're using them for is in the name of God, but in all actuality, they're not using it for those purposes, because a lot of the things that they're doing does not benefit the community. These are the questions that they ask you, and you can look up the guidelines yourself on any government, how to start a nonprofit. It will give you the guidelines of the paperwork you must submit. These are lengthy processes. They don't just happen overnight. You need to really know what you're doing and have backing and all of these things in order to be able to get them, meaning especially to the extent of where they have theirs, because it's certain things you have to show up. And depending on what state, it may not be as hard to acquire as in others. But as we can see, what needs to be done in communities to change the, actual out there doing the footwork. Some of them do stuff, but when you think about the amount of finances that they have coming in compared to what is actually being distributed, especially to the people, even to their own parishioners that go to the church, they will tell you that, if they need help, that they're not able to get the assistance. So I know we're not able to do everything, but I know at the same token, if this is what you're doing, then you need to be doing. And I would, hold on, there's a scripture for it. I gotta find it. Give me 1 second, because I know I was just reading about it. Okay, well, for one, I want to have us to think about sober judgment, which is Romans 12:3. By the grace given to me, I say to everyone among you not to think of himself more highly than ought to think. So when I'm saying these things, I'm not. But to think with sober judgment, each according to the measure of faith that God has assigned. That's Romans 12:3. So it's dangerous when we have too much pride, too much ego. And when these people walk around doing all of the things that they're doing, eventually they're doing it in the name of God. But in all actuality, it's to feed their own pride and ego. So we have to be sober in our judgments and watching carefully of what is going on. And when I was talking about the actual work itself, because our work must be unto the Lord, any and everything that we're doing. So when we think about these things, we don't want to be just doing any and everything. You know, God calls us to things, and He calls us to help in certain areas and do certain things. And everyone is not assigned to us. We can help with a lot of things, but everything is not specifically assigned to you. And I have to learn that myself, and with God is especially with Him, want Him to lead me and show me who I'm sent to and who I'm not, because one plants, one waters, and God gives the increase. I'm looking for this. Okay, it says in Ephesians 6:7, work with enthusiasm as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. And that's Ephesians 6:7. That's what everything and all that we're doing here. We have to be, enthusiastically doing enthusiastically like we're doing it unto God. And so we got to pay attention to what is going on around us. Also, I see what's going on with the Diddy cases and all of these other things that are just unfolding, and all of the atrocities that are happening. Be not mistaken, these things are coming out for a reason. God is allowing them to be exposed finally. A lot of it is their own reaping, their own karma, reaping, because they're reaping what they sow. And God is getting tired of what is being hidden. So He's exposing it and revealing it so that we can see how these people got to where they got to, making their money, how they were able to, they portrayed themselves in front of us to be these wonderful people that have it all together, that have all the answers, and they're, anyone can make it, everyone can make it. Oh, if you just be hard working, all of this, you can make it. But we see the opposite of that in this world, and there's reasons behind that, because if everyone could make it, not to say that they can't, in the eyes of God, meaning when you're working in the godly spiritual realm. But we got to look and take that apart, because a lot of people don't make it, meaning are not where they should be, because of people like them, because they operate in these spiritual realms, that they operate up under sorcery, and they do satanic things to make it where other people cannot get there or acquire that unless they're willing to do certain things. Now, we all have choices. So if you want to get to where they are, then you have to do what they had to do. And what they did, you don't know on the outside. Now, once you become a part of them, then you will see when they try to initiate you into it, and then it will be up to your choice as to if you're going to move forward or not. We see this with the sororities. We see this with some of everything that is revolving around, this world and its business structure. Not only that, Jezebel, who was the, hold on. Okay, let me get it together. Jezebel, who is one of the main evil deities, because remember, these deities, although they have different names, okay, and they do different things, they all basically work together when it comes to them over, doing what they're doing here on earth, and when it comes to us, because their one main goal, whether they like each other and agree with each other or not, is that they don't like and agree with us. They all tend to hate us. So, one, we don't need to be making an excuse about what we're seeing, because God is allowing us to see everything play out right in front of us. So when we're making our decisions to do certain things, we need to be making them, not looking for the natural realm. People will tell us a lot of things in the natural, and don't get me wrong, anyone can tell you some things, and they may be true, they may be good, they may be helpful, but I tell people, chew the meat and spit out the bone. Make sure you know where and who and what you're eating from, because it could be something that'll poison you. Whoever's feeding you, whatever it is they're feeding you, Just because someone's feeding you, that not mean what they're feeding you is not poison. So be, mindful of those things. So in Romans 1:20 it says, ever since the world was created, people have seen the earth, the sky, through everything that God has made, and they can clearly see his invisible qualities, his external power and divine nature. So they have no excuse for not knowing God, meaning we see that the birds of the air, the stars, we see it, we know that there is a God. Now, which God you seem to see and know and want, that's up to you. But we already know when it comes to the big G, there's only one of those. A lot of these small G's who mimic and want to be what he is, the I am, the original creator of everything, heaven, earth, and all of what you see, whether it's the animals, the seed, the trees, everything you see, including us, we already know where it comes from. It says plainly in Genesis who created everything. So we know it wasn't us ourselves. We know everything here is intricately, even the scientists, they consistently trying to figure out the human brain, the human body. Why? Because God is who he is, and there is no other. He is the I am, the I am. We do not think how he think. We do not know what he knows. We don't. We know a portion, bits and pieces of what he gives us and allows us to have. And then what we do with that, he's going to hold us accountable for, because your knowledge that he gives you, your experiences, your whatever he's allowing you to see, hear, and know, your gifts, your talents, you're not supposed to use them for evil. You're supposed to use them for him and his kingdom, not the other way around. So moving forward, like I'm saying, Jezebel, who is one of the main figures, she tends to rule. When you look into the deities and the spiritualism, she's one of the top ones, and she rules when it comes to money, when it comes to all these things that we must get our minds out of. And I remember when when God was delivering, the Israelites, and although they left Egypt, they still had the residue of Egypt in their minds. They were free now, but they still remained and act as though they were still in bondage, and they long to still go back to Egypt because it's what they know. We must be very mindful and careful of those things, because if he delivered us out of something and he's taking us away from it, it's for our own best interest. It was not good for us to be there, nor did he want us to be there, stay there, remain there. And in our mental, we have to take the time out to let God heal us in the spiritual and in the natural. Why? Because it happens in the spiritual first. You have the healing where he starts to heal. That's why I was talking about the healing. The deliverance, being delivered, and the restoration, allowing him to heal you, to deliver you and restore you to himself, meaning your mind, your soul, your body, your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health, as well as your financial health. But it has to start with the spiritual first. So when we look at these things, this is what I've been saying. That's why I've been posting what I've been posting about healing, about deliverance, about getting closer to God, allowing him to heal and restore you. Because when we're operating out of these evil, wicked things, it's because of all of that we have had from the time we were born. We have all of this evilness in us that the devil has done to us, and particularly, and it's not just him, because we partake, and he's only allowed to do what we step into, meaning we allow him when we step into sin. So then he's able to open the door to have access to us in our lives. So when we start doing the things that we're doing, I see all of these things going on in the world, and I'm like, we're worshiping still the idols, the things of the world. And when I'm talking about the world, I'm talking about the games, the Met Gala, the hip hop, all of these things. Even these days that we, like I said, because even myself, I said God has been dealing with me with all of these holidays, which I know are not, holidays, meaning of God. These are things that they created to make money, to get wealth. So when I did the Mother's Day thing, because it is a biblical thing, but they still use biblical things. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. But I know when I use it, when I, my own journey with my kids and everything going on, my motherhood, just getting to a place where I'm able to look back at both the good and the bad. And we're going to have both good and bad. And God is going to use both good and bad. And he's going to restore it. He's going to heal it. But we're not always supposed to be learning from experience. We're supposed to be obedient, because it is better than sacrifice. And I believe I heard Tim Ross speak about that the other day, or I forget one of his messages. And he's exactly right. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. I apologize for that. Y'all know the time of the year. I ask God to help me with that too, with these sinuses and all stuff. Ooh, the weather changes and the pollen and the this and the that. But anyway, Lord help me with this with my nose, my eyes, and all that. So anyway, and I know even that is a spiritual thing. So I'm not. These are things we have to battle. So Lord help me with even that. So when they talk about Jezebel, I'm going to get into Jezebel and what she does. And this is how we see it portraying in the world, because this is where, the clothes and the status and the culture and the hip hop and their worshiping. Oh, hip hop was a this and it's a culture and it's a this. Hip hop ain't do nothing for us. None of these things in the world does anything really for us besides lead us down a road to destruction, a road to sin. These are gateways that are opened up, that they put before us, these such things to have us, everything that's a craze, even being online and all these things that they created for us. But thank God we're able to use it for a tool for good, for God's, glory. Because without it is a lot of stuff, to be able to reach other people, speak to other people around the world. Maybe we wouldn't be able to do that. So he's trying to just do, use what I have or what God has given me to spread, his word, his message. So when we're looking at these things, I'm going to get into Jezebel. We're going to look at Jezebel. We're going to talk a little bit about, Jezebel and what she does. And when I'm reading these things and I'm, saying them, please pay, attention to what's going on around us. Now, they're talking about the 666. We know it's the mark of the beast, but it's not only that, it's on the dollar bill. It's in those pentagrams that they use. That's what that is, the six-sided. They want to say it's the Star of David, if you notice, because it looks like that. There is no Star of David. The Jews are using that, or the ones that are there that are not the real Jews. They're using that as, their whatever, but that is of the synagogue of Satan. Jesus spoke it out because he said, "You are not the real Jews. You have taken up the sign of Moloch, which is your God, which is a symbol and the sign of Satan, and it is not of God." And so we're gonna get down and we're gonna start talking about the 13 families and the bloodlines that actually rule the world, because this is what the arrows on that pentagram represent, the 13 arrows of the satanic bloodline, the families that rule the world. So namely, these families work with, and this is how all of this go. They are partnered with the demonic world. So this is how all of this stuff, the systems and the kingdoms of the world, are completely, you see what I'm saying, evil, demonic, and you see it all over. It doesn't matter what area you're in, it's still ran by the same situation. Now, the hexagon, the 6 points, those are arrows, and they represent these 13 families that rule, the world or whatever. And because they are, partnered with the evil demonic, everything that they come out with, from fashion to, every from the time of, who was it, the fallen angels, when they came and they started showing them how to use weapons, showing them how. So these things have been going on for such a long time. This is not a just now thing. Also, I believe, which one of, was it Ham or Japheth? One of them, Hashem. Noah's kids, he was interacting with them as well, and they were showing him how to make. That's how we got the the Freemasons and the that was the carpentry work, and also how to make guns and stuff. That was how they made arrows and spears. They was taught. So you see them coming out with all this new AI and technology. Know that it's not just them themselves coming up. They are partnered when they come out with new songs, new patterns for clothing and all of these things that you haven't seen before. These things are so new, like the new cars that look like spaceships. Oh, it's not just them, they're so wonderful. They are partnered in their evil wickedness, and they're able to access things that are not of this world. They either, that are of the satanic world, and they're able to bring them here and to work with them. CERN is another one of these things that we are talking about when you talk about them being able to break the veil, which is the Holy Spirit covering us right now, to keep them back. And once they penetrate, that's what they keep trying to go to, the moon, to stars, which is all fours. They are speaking with these illegal aliens, and they're not even aliens. They're fallen angels and the evil demonic, between the fallen angels, the Nephilims, and all of them. They're speaking with them to get information because they want to break through and cause us to go straight into war. Now remember, they don't want us as far as to be here with us and live. No, they were destroyed and they want to come back, and they're angry that we're here. Why? Because God placed us here. And he put us in his image, and they don't want us here. And so because of that, they don't like us. They want to war after us. They want to eat us. They want to destroy us. And this is why you see in these realms, these worlds right here, the sex trafficking, you see it. Catholicism, you see it. They molested children. They do all. Why? These are forms of sacrifices. That's how they get power, get money, get wealth to these deities that they are worshiping. The more that they do evil, wicked, the more power they get, the more energy they consume from these people that they are destroying. This is what this is all about. So we don't just get money and power, fame just like that. No, unless it's either one of two kingdoms you're going to get it from. Either God is going to bless you with it and allow you to have it, or the devil will. He rewards his children just like God rewards his. Don't ever get it twisted. So when we're looking at these things and we see tribulation, we see poverty, all of these things, because it talks about it in the book of Revelation. And it talk about Jezebel being one of the highest ranking of, she's, as far as the sin and in the world, she helps come out with all of these things. That's why they talk about the mermaids and under the sea and all this. Everything you see, like you see them walking the red carpet. The movie Saw, I remember Janelle Monáe, she had, that reminded me of that movie, but they did nothing but killing in that movie. I see, the wizards and the witches and all of these different things that they are, I think it was the Mary Poppins and all of these different ones that you see how they're dressed. And if you look at them, they look like a lot of the Disney characters. And it's like, when you look at that, you know that those are spells. Those are sorcery. Those are things that, witchcraft and powers and stuff, that this is what they gave us from children. Cinderella and, what was the other? Snow White and Belle and all of these. And the Little Mermaid, remember, because she's underwater. And they're showing us there are kingdoms underwater. They live there. Yes, do not be deceived. So when we're looking at these things, we're being distracted. We're being distracted. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. How does he do that? First of all, he distracts you with all the other things that are going on in the world. Take your mind off God. Take your mind off the things of God. Pay attention only to the worldly things. Live worldly. Pay attention to worldly. Worship worldly. Do not think about anything godly, spiritual, and he wants to take all of that out. And while you're doing that, working a 9 to 5, trying to make ends meet, trying to do this, that, and the third, he is in the background creating havoc in your life in every aspect for everyone here. Why? Because every rule, every decision, every government, every kingdom, every business is growing. They're getting more money. They're getting more wealth. They're snuffing us out. They're making us poverty stricken, taking all our money. That's why you see the cost of living will go up. The pay range will stay the same. You see, these things are not did accidentally. They are by design. Please do not get these things twisted. They are done by design. But now they're exposing. Sometimes they'll expose themselves so they can look like they're trying to help, but because they do have to tell us when it comes to certain things as well, about what they're doing, because we have to allow them, I would say, or they can hide it. That's why they mix the truth with the lies. So it's like they tell you a little bit, but then they leave out the rest and then they distort it. So this is where we are. Like I said, Jezebel, she has a great, one of the greatest, that's why they talk about her specifically, in the book of Revelation, talking about how she is riding on the, I forget what it was she was riding on. I'm sorry, do not. And she's drinking a cup, but that's a cup, I believe, of iniquity. And that's all of the blood, all of the things that she has had, they've been doing here on earth. And so when we sit here and we look at these things, okay, and we look at them, we must understand something. The spiritual and the natural are both working, because these are all like antichrist. They're against God. They're against God. They're against Christ. They're against the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. They're against God the Father, God the Son, and God the Spirit. So everything that they're doing is against God. And all of their ideologies come from that. That's why you see, if you're talking about the Bible, they'll ban it. But if you're talking about being gay and explaining the gay lifestyle to children, they'll put that in the schools, but they'll take anything about God out. This is how you get that. So if you don't think for one moment that this world is being, ran basically by these evil Satanists or whatever, that the demons and they're here and they're operating together, you're sadly mistaken. Pay attention and do not get caught up in these things. They got the boots of the ground thing and they got the little kids out dancing. Listen, I'm just like, why we can't have, something that is godly, beneficial, spiritually, working well for us, that is loving and kind. We always want the evil destruction because it looks good, it sounds good, it's propagated good, meaning the media and all of that is. But when it comes to things that are going to be of life, of meat, of sound, but see, God already said it was going to be this way. Jesus said it. They would reject these things and they would accept the lies. They would accept, all of the other things and deny the truth and deny, the real realities of what is going on. But when we look at this world, we must be paying attention each and every day to everything that is going on, because I promise you, we can't get caught up. We can't get caught slipping. I would say we can't get caught slipping to where sin is everywhere and we're taking the yoke of it and we're enjoying and entertaining it, and then we get caught out there because we don't know when Jesus is going to crack the sky. And when he does, we want to be ready and in line with what we're supposed to be doing. Everything that we're doing here in our lives is supposed to be to God and to him first, and then everything else comes later. So we're supposed to ask him about our lives and where to go and what to do. Our work's supposed to reflect that. At our jobs, we're supposed to shine our light everywhere we go. If we're at work, we're supposed to be, still living a godly life and doing whatever at our job that is going to promote that, as well as and at home and in private. So it's like when we see these things, we just cannot be, they call it being asleep, being drunk, meaning, and not observant and not conscious or, in your right mind of what is going on around you. And we need to wake up. We need to not be asleep. We need to be paying attention to what all of the signs that God is showing us. Even our environments, we must understand where we live and how we live. It matters as well. These principalities and powers are over certain areas and they are strong in major cities. This is why you have so much bloodshed. This is why why? Because they're drinking the blood of our innocents. They love to put the innocent in jail and release the one that is guilty. If you pay attention to what is going on, all of the time, it is so that we can turn against God. They want us to be angry with God as people, as Christians, as human beings. They want us to turn on God. Why? Because they want us to look and feel and say, well, God is not there. He does not love us. He's allowing these things to happen. But it's us and our own sin. That is the reason why these things are happening. We have to come out of it. We have to come from among them so that he can work, so that he can save us, so that he can fight for us. Because you cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve God and the devil. You cannot expect God to protect you from the devil when you're serving him, when you're doing all that he wants you to do, when your influence, everything in your life is influenced by him. So this is what we must understand. And I'm going to read, some passages that's just going to help us, because when we look at what was going on, we'll see how Jezebel plays, a big part, or the spiritual realm, not just Jezebel, because there's so many demons, there's so many demonic forces, there's so many principalities, powers, and authorities, there's so many of them. There's not just one of them. Even when Christ went to cast out the demon, he said he's many. They're legion, and it's just thousands of them. So it's not just one. And they were inside of our human being and they were operating out of him. This is why I put up the book, the Deliverance book with Bev Tucker, and the other one with the Freedom from Soul Wounds and Demons by, I think it's Nelson Schumann. So when we're looking at these things, and we're paying attention and trying to get ourselves working with God, asking him to heal us, to deliver us, and, to restore us to himself. You see what I'm saying? To take us out of the world. But we have to want it, and we have to want to change, and we have to want to let allow him to do the work, and allow him and not fight him on it. So me work with him. Stop drinking, stop smoking, stop cursing, stop hanging out, stop doing these things. And then allow him to help you be healed and whole and take it out of you. Stop hanging out with the wrong, because even, like I said, even where you live, It was talking about ants and different things like roaches, and how, in the spiritual realm, it signifies poverty. But we don't understand that. And we don't understand that these spirits have a whole lot more that come with them than just one, because it's not just one. They come as a gang. And when they come and they have spiritual, they have you in poverty. When you live in certain places, you see a whole lot of mice. You see bed bugs. You see, roaches. You see ants. Those are signs of poverty. So when you look at these places and the crime rates in those areas, same difference. They're high. They don't want to clean up. You have dog drool all over the floor and all over everywhere. When you live a lot of trash, a lot of dirty, building apartments or whatever, whether it's in your apartment itself or whether it's in the building or in the, the lobby of where you are, it doesn't matter, or up the street or down the block. These things, they signify poverty. And the spirits that come along with them are evil and wicked and demonic. They're not wonderful, jolly, happy. No, these are spirits of shoot them, kill them, this them, that them. Right? When we look at those areas that are like that, and they're poor and they're, struggling in every aspect of their lives, not just in their physical, they're struggling in their mental, their emotional. When I was talking about, when you move out of somewhere and you take whatever you have, let's say you move from a bad area and you move from, they call it moving out the hood or whatever, and you go live into a nice place. Okay, you'll go live in a nice place, and will you take the same demons there? Yeah. And if you don't clean yourself out, meaning your spiritual self, you as well as your natural self, and you don't move that stuff with you into the new place, you will transfer from there to there. Then what'll happen is you'll go to a new area, but what you'll have, all of those people in that area will be clean, but then you'll come bring that evil, wicked, demonic dirtiness there. And God is the light, and He's of cleanliness. He shows the light so you can see where the dirt is, meaning in your life, spiritually and in the natural. Why? Because cleanliness is closest to godliness, because it's holiness. So He wants the light to shine. He wants you to see the areas that are dark and dirty in your life, whether it's in your spiritual or in your natural life, so that you can clean it up. So when we're looking at these things, like I said, I'm going through my process myself, cleaning out, taking out, whether it's old things, old people, places, things that I've brung, whether it's in the spiritual or the natural realm as well, so that my spirit, my mind, my soul can be cleansed, refreshed by who? By God, because He's going to attract Himself to you. He's repelled against filth, against dirt, and when I say that, it's because that is the dark, ugly places. And these are the places that Satan deals in. He loves toilets. He loves dirty homes. He loves dirty areas with impoverished. That's where the demons love to flourish. They love nasty, dirty things. And when you see them talking about these people and the atrocity things that they do, now you can understand, because it's not just them. These are the evil, demonic, spiritual forces that are inside of them. But remember, they wanted the money. They wanted the fame. They wanted it. They had a choice of whether they were going to choose it or not choose it. But because they wanted money and fame and power more than they wanted God, they chose it. So this is where their life is. Why? Because they wanted it, and God allowed them to have it. Why? Because guess what? He's not going to force you. He's not going to make you. He loves you. You're His bride. He wants to be with you, but He's not going to be, back and forth eventually within adulteress. And I can't wait to get into the book of Hosea. I'm still reading, and I'm still doing my studies on it. So I don't want to bring it forth until, I'm finished with the process. But anyway, and I thank God for it, because it's showing me a lot of things as well. And this is why when we're, in sin, whether it's a sin we knowingly know of we're doing, or something that is omitted, things that we don't see, like unforgiveness, hatefulness, bitterness, pride, jealousy, envy, covetousness. When we see those things, and we're not seeing it ourselves, but other people may see it, we may not. We must understand that, God repels Himself from us, but He draws to us. You see what I'm saying? When we're trying to get ourselves clean up. Why? Because He wants to be around those who wants to be around Him. He wants to be around those that are cleanly and holy. And if not, He'll come and He'll clean you up. But you have to ask, you have to want it. This is the thing. He's not going to chase you down. He's not going to force you. You have to want it. You have to want Him more than you want these other things, these other people, places, and things. more than to be famous, more than to have money, more than to have, people worship and adore you, or whatever, you have going on. And this could be in any aspect. It could be a business aspect of your life. You want people to worship you. You want to become an idol. You want them to bow down. It could be in your physical, physically you want to, people to, your mental, your emotional, your financial, you have money, whatever it is, so this is what we have to pay attention to. And so, I'm just sitting here and I'm, because I'm looking at it in my own life. It's things God is dealing with me with. He's taking these things out of my life. He's letting me see the areas that I need cleaning up. Like, oh, girl, you need to do this. You need to, like, I love you, but, you got some areas I love you that you need to get right. You need to fix that. You need to work on it. And I'll help you. I will help you. You give it to me. You do your part, and I'll do the rest. Because he'll do the part that we can't do. He wants us to do the part that we can do. And then give him the rest and let him do it. So now, like I said, when we're looking at all these things, I'm talking about Jezebel and all of these evil spirits and demonic, forces. They're everywhere. They're not just in one area. They're in the government. They're in every system, the educational, the food industry. They're everywhere. This whole place is built off of this. So the pharmaceuticals, everything. So you're going to encounter these things wherever you go. And it's up to you whether you're going to say, well, because I need to make $1, or because I need to this, or because I need to do that, I'm just gonna, because their agenda is to rule mankind. Their agenda is to destroy whoever's not gonna bow down, whoever's not gonna follow them, whoever is not going to go along with Satan and bow down and worship Satan. They want to destroy us and destroy the ones who refuse to go along with them. But the ones who will be a part of them, but then they won't. They'll be a part of the torturing of us and all the other things. But then you got to understand, but then when it's time to go to hell, they're going to go to hell. Satan's not going to save them. They're going to be with him in the lake of fire. There'll be no redeeming of their souls at that point. You see, so God gives you a time frame to get it together. So while we're sitting here being distracted, and our time is being wasted, and our minds are focused on all these other things, and it's not focused on God, and the devil is slowly but surely chipping away at this world as we see it. And he's allowed to do it because it's supposed to happen, and we're supposed to choose. So it's not like it's not going to happen. No one's going to get up out of here, escape it. No one's going to, no, when I say escape, I mean, we're all going to go through trials and tribulations. We're all going to have to deal with the devil. We're all going to have our encounters with him in our lives, whether it's him or, the other demonic forces. Why? Because it's a part of our life. We're going to have trials. We're going to have tribulations. Some of these things are going to be based off of our own desires and wants of our hearts, and other things are going to be based off of tests that God is going to test to see if you really love him, if you really will stay with him and be with him. So he may allow you to lose everything just to see if you still love and worship him, and if he doesn't give you anything else, if he's not your genie anymore, and this is the reality of it, because God doesn't want someone who's going to be up there like Satan was, and he give him everything and he turn around and destroy everything and take what he wanted, the half of the fallen angels with him. You see what I'm saying? So he doesn't want that repeated. So he only wants people who really truly love him and want him. And when you think about all of us in this world, and we want love, and we want people to love us and love us for us, not what we can do for them. So bingo, that should be a very big, thing in our life for us to understand where God is coming from. If you just want to be with God and love God for what he can do for you and what he's going to give you, you can hang that up. Because it's going to be times he's going to give, it's going to be times he's going to take or allow or not allow or whatever. You're not going to live here and it's going to be perfect. So if we're thinking that everything we want here we're going to have, we're going to be married, white picket fence, well, that's the illusion that they give us here on earth. Because remember, it's not going to be that way in heaven anyway. There'll be no marriage and all of that up there. So when we're chasing down all of these other things, these are things, that's why you got all the love music in it. Why? Because it promotes what? Fornication. It promotes what? Adultery. It promotes what? Having children out of wedlock. These is what it promotes. Or if not, you don't want to have the children. A lot of people say they don't have children because they aborted them. It's not that you weren't pregnant. You just didn't want them. So you aborted them. That's a worship of Moloch. So when you think about these things and you think about what is going on and what we're seeing, you see the kids, even our children, it's like the children are just so grown now. They're not even children. And like I said, with the boots on the ground thing, I see that the little, and it's not to say, but it's just, she's too small. And to be teaching her things of the world that are of these, other type of natures, instead of teaching them godly things or teaching them, age appropriate things, before their time, is introducing them to all these other worlds, all these other things that they should not be doing as of yet. And they should not even be knowing of as of yet. And it's sad that they're being, and this is what I'm talking about when I say your environment and your mentality and what goes on in your household or as you grew up or what you got to see and be around as children, that affects you in the long run, your whole life. Because if you grew around in a place that was nothing but, sexual exploitation, everyone had to wear certain things, look a certain way, then this is all you're promoting for your life. But the devil wants you to promote those things because that's where the distraction, because he's just already got your mind. You're distracted. You're so focused on all of those things. You're not so focused on the things of God. You're not thinking, why? Because that's not your main objective, your main intention, your main motive. No, it's all this other stuff. And see, God looks at the heart. And because he looks at the heart, it doesn't matter what you look like or what you have. Your motives and your intentions and your heart, especially towards him and towards others, is what he's looking at mainly. And our hearts can be very deceitful, very deceiving. At times, our emotions, this is why we can't get caught up in that either, because our emotions will be, caught up, and we got to get to a point where we know when and where and how, and we have to be asking God who to love, when to love, how to love. Why? Because we're supposed to love everyone. Well, they're not supposed to have access. They're not supposed to be around us if they're not going to be promoting anything good into our lives. Because guess what? You are the company you keep. If you're around or in a place that is filled with, like I said, because it will get into you, your system, your mentality. They talk about this all of the time. Children who are loved, children who are not loved, children who are around, certain areas, certain things, and they grew up in certain dynamics. The way that their mind is compared to the other children who weren't, and when you compare them, you can see not just in the natural, but the spiritual and in the physical. They talk about their brains, how they develop, differently, how they think differently, how they move and react, differently from each other. And so we must be paying attention to these things, because they even talk about like arthritis and other things are related to sickness, meaning unforgiveness, unhealed. This is how people get these different types of diseases, whether it's cancer. And you need to look up those type of things too, because this may be the actual thing that God wants you to look at to get healed. Do you have unforgiveness in your heart? If you have a issue with what is arthritis or different things, you got to look it up, because in the spiritual, these are spiritual infirmities, meaning the spirit of disease, dis-ease. These things are not supposed to be upon us. Why? Because God never intended for us to be sick. He never intended for us to die. He never intended for all of these things we see going on. He never intended for us to know anything that was not loving, kind, and all. No. When they ate of the tree, they what they did is a duo situation. In order to have knowledge of good, you must have knowledge of evil, because you cannot know one without knowing the other. You got to understand that. So you have to know this one to know. You have to know bad in order to know good, because you wouldn't know the difference in the two. If you never experience anything bad in your life, how would you know when it's good? If you never experience anything good in your life, how would you know when it's bad? So this is why all of that transpired, and it changed everything. When it changed the trajectory of our lives, people lived and would never die. God cut the lifespan of man. Why? Because of the evil wickedness. They were living to be 800, 900 years old. The more evil and wicked it got, he cut the lifespan to 120. Why? Because he didn't want us to continue to live forever and to continue to live that long with evil and wickedness. So he decided to stop it, cut it short, cut it off. So when we look at the things that God has been doing, he does everything for a reason. We may be angry and upset. We may not understand. We may be not like it at all, but it's for a reason. And really and truthfully, when we're talking about parenting or motherhood, understand something. It's not for the weak. Because God does things just like our parents do things sometimes we don't like, and say things we don't like for our own good, because he's trying to save you from you. He's trying to help you from you, because he sees you going down a wrong path, and he'll tell you, listen, don't do that. Because there's going to be some, And obedience is better than sacrifice, but we don't listen. We want our way. We don't see it. We want to do it our way. And so, you know, we'll hate God. We'll hate our parents. We'll hate everybody for the things we choose to do that messed us up. And then there's some, they're there to help us. And then even after he helps us, we're still angry because we didn't get our way. We messed up our own life. And then when we sit there, we're angry with God about it. How are we angry with God? We be angry with our parents about how we angry with our parents. Especially if they told you. But see, we got to grow. And if they didn't tell you anything, that's just as bad. Because some of us will tell our kids certain things and some of us won't. Some of us grew up our children in the spirit and in the Lord, and some of us didn't. These are the things, when I sat back and I was like, dang, the things that I didn't do. There's a lot of things that I didn't do, right, as a parent. Even though I did some things good, I did some things regardless, even when it comes to myself or when it comes to in Christ. If I wasn't living a life according to what that entails, showing my children how to live a life, if I'm out here drinking and partying and doing all this stuff and it's acceptable and it's okay, then why would I think they would grow up to do, to be the godly unless God himself just, So these are things that we have to teach our children because let me tell you something. Once they get to the age of accountability, and the more we put on them, the more we introduce them to, especially at earlier ages, God is going to hold them accountable for it. Because when you got them out there dancing and looking grown and it's approved and it's okay and acting grown and doing grown things before their time, that's not good. They're being exposed to things that they should not be exposed to at an early age. And that's not a good situation. They need to be children while they're children and think and act like children while they're children. Why? Because we don't need to rush them into adulthood. They're not ready for it. I mean, in the spiritual realm as well as in the natural, they're not ready for those type of things yet. We have to train them up. We have to teach them. So I look at being a parent from a totally different, I've always thought of it as a job that was really, really, but even more so now because I see a lot of the holes and the pitfalls that I didn't do. So it's like, okay, Lord, I need forgiveness. I need to repent to you, my children, because I didn't know those things then. And I knew enough or didn't know what I know now. And we're going to go through these things in phases and God is going to work with us and through us with these things. And as we know, we need to share and help others because they may not be where you are in certain areas and you may not be where they are. And it's not nothing bad, but it's just you want to share. You want to give them the information. You don't want to hide it. The devil loves to hide the truth. He don't want you to know the truth. He wants you to be in la la land. He wants you to think everything is okay until it's not. This is the whole point of this. And then you've been destroyed your whole life thinking one way and then come to find out it wasn't even that way. Hey. So, hold on. I'm going to read, what is it? Some of these things, because it's some of the characteristics I think of the Jezebel. I keep trying to look and find it. Give me 1 second, because I know I had it. I was reading it, and I was like, Dad, you look at what, she has, as far as we have to pray against these things. We have to know that God is here and he's able. And it doesn't, God's power is always greater than the power of darkness. And this is something we always have to know and understand. Okay. The things that manifest on the earth right now, they're communing with the fallen angels, the demons, because they're limited to what they could do here. So Satan seeks people that are willing to work with him. And this is how we got here. These people who do all of these wicked things that are willing to work with him, to open up portals, to do everything that we see done here as far as, having us poverty stricken, opening up like the world up there, the CERN thing, trying to break the veil of the Holy Spirit that is, that was sent to protect us and keep those evil demons out, until the time of the tribulation, which is the time of Revelation we talk about. They're going to grieve the Holy Spirit to the point, all the evil wickedness, to where it's going to go. It's going to lift, because the spirit is going to be where it's wanted, where it's supposed to be, and it's going to leave. Jesus put it here when he left here for us to have, and it's supposed to be our comforter and our helper, and it's supposed to help guide us into all truth. So now when they continue doing, this is why the level of sin has to get to that point, so when the cup of iniquity runs over, and when it runs over, then the veil of the spirit will be snatched away, and then that's when all of the tribulation, there will be no holding back. There will be no mercy. The grace and the mercy that we're seeing will be snatched away. And everything that the evil, wicked one wants to do to you is going to be upon you. And this point in time, I don't even know whether you enter in it or not. You're already in it. And so, is it Jezebel? I'm trying to look for the things of Jezebel, because I know that she, plays a big part of this. Okay. Okay, well, what I know of Jezebel is she does, like with the fornication, she works with all of these companies to make the clothing. That's why we see everyone dressing less and less. These are the ones that work with her to promote, like you see the Sexy Reds and all of them that walk around, all they talking about are having sex, fornicating, and all of these things. Those are the ones that, when you look at what's going on with the Diddy tribe, these are what they're doing. They're working with these people to do these things. They give them money. They make them sell their souls. This is who they're working with, and it's not just her, but she's one of the main ones that I know of, because she deals with a lot of different things. But if you want to, just look it up, because I'm trying to go through it and I don't want the video to be too long. But if you look up a lot of the different deities and the different spirits, they talk about Jezebel being in the church and all of this. It's not about Jezebel being in the church. It's about Jezebel and the things that she's capable of doing and the way she operates. And it could be in a man or in a woman. So it's not just a female spirit. It's a spirit, because remember, they operate with the duality. And that's why you see the Baphomets, the man and the woman, because they operate in both men and women. They don't have any specific, gender. And this is why you see all of that is promoted. They intermingle with beasts. That's why you see the stuff that they have. Like you have a mermaid with a tail, with the snake's tail. Or you see a half human and a half, what they call them things, they look like a bull or something. This is because they're mating, having sex with animals. They're producing that. This is what this is about, and that's why this stuff is getting to be out of control. You can marry a dog, the bestiality and all of that. This is where that comes in, and they're trying to create a whole nother type of human being. Well, it's going to be Satan's seeds. Those are his seeds, his children. So we must understand it. So like I said, one, we must be discerning or sober-minded, paying attention to what is going on in the spiritual realm and the natural realm. Please, please, please pay attention to the news, not just in America, the world news. And I know a lot of it is propaganda and fake, but you got to discern and pay attention, because there's some truth in every lie that they tell. So you must pay attention, because they like to mix stuff. But you have to look it up for yourself, and you have to go into the word, into the scriptures, and look up the scriptures. You have to read your word so you understand and you see and know what is going on. If you do a chapter a day, a scripture a day, it doesn't matter. Just do something. Why? Have time with God. It doesn't matter how long. When you try and you actually start to seek him, you'll see that you'll want to, be with him longer when you sit and you have time with him. And he's everywhere. You can take him everywhere. You can pray in the car. You can pray on your way to church. You can pray in the subway when you're on your way to work. Whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as you're communing with God, you see what I'm saying? Having an actual relationship with him. Because sometimes we don't have time, because we're working and we're doing different things. And we do have to do those things to maintain our lives here. And God understands it. But we don't want to put them before him. Okay? We don't want to put anything before him. So I hope this message was helpful and beneficial. This one last one, Dangerous Love, Song of Solomon 8:6. Place me like a seal over your heart, like a seal on your arm. For love is as strong as death. Its jealousy underlying as a grave. It burns like blazing fire, like a mighty flame. Be careful of who, what, when, where, and how you're loving. And if you're loving them more than God and you're loving them more than yourself, because these are very dangerous areas to be into. So they can take you straight into the total opposite directions of where you're trying to go in life. And sometimes we think love is love, and sometimes it's not. It'll be lust, infatuation, and all these other things. Love is different from those things, okay? So we are bruised and not broken. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Please share it because it may not be for you. You may not like it. You may not like what I said. That's fine. But someone else, it may actually be, a blessing to them in their lives. Maybe it's an answer to a question they may have had and asked God. I don't know. But something they're searching or don't have the knowledge of themselves. I, try to get as much knowledge from God, from, I ask them with the Spirit. I question things. I ask, and if not, God will give it to me through someone else. They'll post a video or they'll say something, and then it'd be something that I really needed at the time. Or, it'd be something I forgot about that I asked, oh, God, well, why is this? Or something, And then sometimes, like I told you, he gives us bits and pieces. He don't answer us right away. He don't give us everything all at one time. And it is for our benefit. So, we could be helping each other and not even actually knowing that we're, but one plants, one waters, and God gives the increase, and he'll do it on his time to whomever, whenever he feels ready. So I love you guys. Was not broken. Like I said, like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I do not ask for any funds or anything like that because this is about God. It is not about me. It is not about money. It's not about fame. It is not about being worshipped, liked, and adored. It is not any of those things. It's just about us sharing the love and the info of God that he's giving us and showing us to one another to help one another here get through this thing we call life here on earth. So love you guys. Be blessed. May God bless you and your households. Love you later.